This is the support webinar for customers, just kind of talking about some of the changes we've got going on at Njevity. But let's start first with, if I can get my slide deck to advance, the agenda. So we're going to introduce you to Emily Rowan, our customer success manager, and then we'll introduce you to me, the customer support manager. We're going to talk about our transition to Zendesk, some of our support best practices, and how you can help us to help you. So we always like to cover our mission statement at Njevity. Our mission statement is to improve the life and success of our partners and customers by providing exceptional business application experiences that simplify, inform, and delight. And along that path, that is with that mission statement in mind, is why we are changing the support ticketing system that Njevity uses to the new ticketing system. So here in just a second, you're going to hear from Emily Rowan. She is our customer success manager. That's a new role that we've made at Njevity. And it is just to give you guys an extra go-to person. So if you've emailed someone at support or emailed someone at sales and you're not getting the response that you want, or if you just want to call and talk about what we've got going on at Njevity or anything along those lines, then Emily is your gal. And then there's me, Windi Epperson. I am the customer support manager. So I joined Njevity last August, and I am the role that is coordinating all the support folks and the one that is spearheading our transition within Njevity to the Zendesk product. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Emily.
Thank you, Windi. Yep, I am so excited to be the new customer success manager at Njevity, and very much looking forward to working with all of you. We just want to try and glean more information from our customers about how we're doing and how we can better serve our customers. And part of this great part of our mission is by transitioning to more easily usable and simple support ticketing system. And most of you on this call are familiar with this Zendesk application as a ticketing support tool from the past, but we're implementing it anew within overall Njevity. And so Zendesk, it just, and you're probably familiar, makes it so easy to communicate with the support team. It's simply an email, and within email, of course, you can attach documents, screenshots, all of the pertinent information that makes it easier for the Njevity support technicians to see what the entire problem is and help you get it resolved more quickly. And since it's also email, you can see the entire history, and anyone who is copied on that email is able to be brought into the picture to see that entire case. And also, since we have customers working with various partners are also brought in so that they can be kept posted and up to date regarding any tickets that you as customers have with Njevity via Zendesk. And it's also easier to, of course, make escalations front of mind. So go ahead, we'll go on the next one. And the process now with implementing Zendesk across the entire Njevity org for support tickets, that's all you have to do. Email support@njevity.com for any support request that you have. And you'll receive an invitation, and Windi will go through this process later if you're not already using Zendesk, but once you email support@njevity.com with the support request, you'll get a receipt. Hey, we've received your support request, and then we're going to have a triage, a resource triaging all of the tickets that we receive. And so they're going to jump on that case as soon as it comes in. Our goal is within an hour, if not sooner, to touch base with you like an actual human, getting back to you if they have any additional questions, things like that. They'll get back to you. We strive to get back to you right away. And for those of you who are PowerGP Online customers, we have an exciting announcement. Now we have the PowerGP, there's a PowerGP Online portal, And now customers are going to have access to that, where you as a customer will be able to add users, deactivate users, do the overall maintenance regarding your license assignments, and you could perform user swaps, things like that. And we'll get into that in more detail once we roll that out for our customers. So just feedback, and we're trying to do everything we can to make the interaction with Njevity more simple and delightful for our customers. And now, Windi, are you going to go into the meat and potatoes part of Zendesk?
Yes, so now let's talk about some of the things that Emily mentioned and take it a little further. Again, if you have been a customer of mine for a while, you've seen all this, so this isn't new, but just to kind of reiterate, when you send in a support request, you're going to get an email that looks similar to this. So notice of receipt, just saying, hey, we got it. And you'll notice in the middle of this slide, I've got it highlighted, that's your ticket number. So your ticket number, if you call back and, if by chance you don't want to respond to an email, you want to call in for additional support, then that's the ticket number that you'll reference, and that's going to walk you through the rest of the process. You can easily screenshot, so my screenshot's cut off a little bit down at the bottom, but you'll have the whole screenshot. We can send you screenshots of how to do support pieces or how to navigate into GP to do certain things, and all of that history stays with it. So if this is a issue that you have frequently, you can save this email off into your bucket and go back later and say, oh yeah, she told me to go to SmartList and then click beside financial and expand the accounts button, etc. So you get to keep this email string as well as we do. And make sure, these are just kind of some tips and tricks. So when you email support@njevity.com, after you've emailed in a couple of times, your Outlook is going to try and remember the previous times that you have emailed in. So you'll notice on the slide, the second row there says support plus IO7JF, blah, 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 blah. Everything between the plus and the @ sign is actually your ticket number encrypted. And I don't know why they don't just put the ticket number in there, but they don't. It encrypts it and Zendesk translates it. So if I email in today and I accidentally grab a support plus blah, 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 blah from 2 weeks ago, what I'm actually doing is I'm opening that ticket from 2 weeks ago. So you just want to make sure that when you email in, you get supported Njevity and you don't grab the one that your Outlook tries to remember with the last case number embedded in it. The next piece to remember is that when you get the emails from Zendesk, there will be a line in it. We'll see a slide with this here in a minute, but there will be a line and you need to reply above that line. So if I send you a list of questions and you try and answer the questions in line of the questions that I initially wrote, Zendesk ignores those. It doesn't see anything that you write below the line. So you have to copy and paste the questions and move them up above the line. And again, I've got a slide to show you that here in just a second. Actually, right here is my slide to show you that. So you'll notice over on the left-hand side, the initial email where I sent you, this is where I would have sent you, please help with the following questions, X, Y, and Z. If you respond below that highlighted line I have, Zendesk doesn't see it. So over on the right, I've copied those questions, pasted them up to the top, and put the answers in there, just to make sure that it gets across. If it's not above the line, we won't see it. Okay, beyond that, just to help us help you, some of the things that we're running into, and again, some of this is because I am new to Njevity. I've only been here a few months so far. But it's a learning curve a little bit, and it will be the same as we continue to grow and hire new people. So you may email me in and say, this is TGIC, but I may not know who TGIC is, especially if I am brand new to Njevity. So please make sure to put your name in your support case somewhere, and your email as well. I mean, your email and your phone number. So a lot of times we'll get somebody who says, call me back, but we can't get a hold of that phone number because it's not in an email signature or it's not in the email string anywhere. So the more information you can provide to us, the faster we can respond and the easier it is to find you and figure out how to get back in touch with you. If you are working in GP and you have received an actual error, please let us know that. So is it an error, or did something just not work, or something not working as expected? If there was an error, then can we, what were you doing that led up to the error? If I was working with a customer yesterday and they were sporadically having posting issues. Well, it turned out the posting was not the problem. They were having trouble with their purchase orders, and the purchase orders weren't printing properly, and they were getting stuck in the queue. So anything they did after trying to print a purchase order wasn't finishing properly because it couldn't get past the stuck purchase order. So knowing what's going on and what was going on just before the error occurred is really good, helpful information to help us troubleshoot more quickly. And then, of course, if you did get an error, what was the exact error? It's very hard to troubleshoot if we don't know what the error was. And print screens are really helpful when you get errors. If you guys are not familiar with Snipping Tool is a program that comes with your Windows operating system. And if you just click on your little Windows icon, little 4 squares at the bottom left of your computer, and then start typing snipping, you'll find Snipping Tool. And normally what I do is I find my snipping tool, right-click on it, and choose to pin it to the taskbar. And that way it's always right there at the bottom of my screen. Once you start using it, you'll see it's very easy to use. You just click on the snipping tool, and it'll come up and say, do you want a new one? And then you just drag your mouse to encompass the screen that you want to send us. So if you do an alt print screen, then if you have more than one monitor, we get picture of all 3 monitors, which means the error message that we get is really teeny tiny and it's hard to read. And even if you only have one monitor, sometimes an alt print screen still gives us a really granular, fuzzy picture, and so we still can't read the error message. I find myself a lot of times having to try and save the picture out to Word and open it up in Word or Paint and try to see if I can zoom in on it enough to see what the error message actually is. So I'm a big proponent of using the snipping tool. Okay. From a triage mentality, there's a lot of things that we can do right up front to try and streamline the support process, and these are some of our standard questions. So if you have more than one company in GP, one of the first things I'm going to ask is this happening in all companies, because that helps me determine whether it's a data problem in only one company or whether it's a program processing problem that covers more companies or the entire GP program itself. Does it happen for all users? Same thing. Is this something that is user specific? If it is, then I need to look at potentially a workstation install or security settings for that user. But if it happens for all users across the board the same, then it's probably a programmatic issue. Does it happen every time or sporadically? So same thing. If it happens every single time, then it's a lot easier to troubleshoot. But if it only happens on the days that end in Y, then we've got to figure out what the variable is that's making the problem happen. And then lastly, has anything been installed, removed, or changed on the problem workstations? For customers that have their software installed in their offices on-premise, it's an on-premise install, as commonly as not, if something that was working yesterday is suddenly not working today, probably 80% of the time we have some sort of a virus scanning software that has been updated, or security has been changed on the virus scanning software, or permissions have been changed on a workstation. So those are the type things that you may or may not know, but if you've got internal IT, you want to ask them, have we done anything recently with our virus scanning software or changed our permissions? Okay, the next slide here just has some terminology that's going to help us to properly prioritize cases. So if you have a system where all of your users are locked completely out of GP and nobody can get in, you want to make sure and put system down in the subject of your email address. That way we're watching for those system down calls. If you cannot get payroll out the door and it is due to the bank, please put payroll down in your subject line so that we can see, again, that we need to prioritize this. If you have a critical check that you need to cut out of AP and you can't get it cut for some reason, put AP down in the subject line. And then lastly, we have payroll issues. Maybe we don't have to have payroll out today, but we do have payroll, within the end of this week. So make sure that you put payroll issues in your subject line to give us that bump to know that we need to prioritize these above and ahead. We do, as a whole, the GP support team, we have appointments scheduled on our calendars pretty much every day. Every one of us has some form of appointment. So anything that comes in with a system down, payroll down, AP down, we're gonna fit those in. We're gonna make sure they fit in with today's schedule But other things we're going to try and schedule out ahead. So one of the triage questions that you're likely to get is, when do you need this by? If you have requested a report customization, we're going to come back and say, when do you need this by? Because that way we can fit it into the existing calendars. If you know you're going to be doing something that's going to be a bigger project, scheduling ahead is the best way for you to make sure that we can get you on the calendar when you want. So we do at the end of the year, we get really, really busy doing year-end closing and helping folks with their payroll year-end. So we usually send a reminder email about September that says, hey, we're getting ready to approach year-end. If you want to claim your preferred day, go ahead and schedule now. So just think.
Wendy, is yesterday an okay answer?
We need this yesterday. You know,
Yes.
It is an okay answer. It is not our favorite. We will do our best to get everything done just as quickly as possible. But
Thank you.
But we need this yesterday is always a little bit tough to make happen. Okay. If you do decide to call in instead of emailing support at njevity.com is going to be your absolute fastest way to get an answer, because we have a team of folks watching that email address, and that team of folks generally spans time zones, and so that's just the quickest way to get your message out to the most people at once. But if you do call in, we request that you leave your name, your company name, and please slowly speak your phone number. I have, I've been told that I'm from the South and I don't speak as slowly as most Southerners, but I think I do kind of hear slowly. So if you leave a really fast phone number and I can't understand what it is, it makes it really hard for me to find you to call you back. Also leave your email address. There are a lot of times where I may be in a webinar or in a meeting where I can't call you back immediately, but I do have the ability to shoot a quick email and start getting the ball rolling while somebody else is talking or presenting. So always make sure and leave your email address in there, and then a brief description of the issue. And in that brief description, again, if you can use those call terms of system down, payroll down, etc., then that's going to really help us to make sure that we get you the best support in the fastest manner. And with that, we will open it up for questions.
Wendy, we did have one question in the queue. It was, what happens if you already have cases existing? Do they need to resubmit them, or will they be addressed if they're already a question in Zendesk?
If you have a question that's already in Zendesk, you do not need to resubmit them. So if you are a customer that has worked with me for a long time, if you used to be an Advanced Integrators customer, it is the same Zendesk. So we are just transitioning the rest of the Njevity team into the Zendesk. So there is no change there for those of you who are used to using Zendesk. Anybody else have any other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, let me pop that out there, make sure there are no hands raised or any other questions. If there are no questions, then we will go ahead and give you a couple of minutes back in your day. If you do have any questions, then feel free to reach out to me or Emily, and we're happy to answer any of those questions for you and walk you through any of the new functionality that's out there. We just wanted to make sure we had this webinar so that you know, because in true accountant fashion, we're going to roll out this new system at the beginning of a quarter. However, that means that we are changing our support system on April 1st, which is always a funny day to tell everybody, hey, we're changing everything that you're going to see. So as of April 1st, if you submit new requests, do not think that it's a joke. It's actually going to be real, and it's going to be great and wonderful. And with that, I thank you all for coming, and we will see you hopefully on our next webinar.
Thanks all. Wendy.